Scott Martin joins us now, market watcher. This kind of position taking by Apple, does it make you not want to buy Apple stock?
Well, Stuart, unfortunately, I think you have to buy Apple stock here because their products are still pretty good. I mean, we're all addicted to them, but it's not unlike Apple. I remember, a few months ago, a year ago, when they wouldn't unlock the iPhones for the FBI, for some of the criminals. They've taken these positions against the government on a political stance just to kind of stand alone and maybe pander to what they think is their strongest customer base, but it's anti-American in my opinion.
I think you're right. I don't think the politics of Apple enters into the investment decision as to whether or not you buy that stock. Scott Martin, stay there, please. We'll bring you back for the opening bell. I want you to check the price of Twitter stock, Martin, and Maria Bartiromo. You know, Maria, that sounds like an excuse to me that the executive from American Airlines, he's got a scheduling conflict.
Yeah. The president calls, you have a scheduling conflict. I mean, I don't... Look, Bob Iger really had a board meeting, and at that board meeting, they talked about him staying on as CEO. I don't know what American Airlines has going on this morning. Sounds like an ideology to me.
Well, what we've got here is a development in that a lot of corporations are staking out a political position opposing President Trump. And I've never seen anything like it before.
Never seen anything like it either, Stu. And I think they're doing so at their own peril.
Yes.
Because I think President Trump is the kind of guy who is not going to forget that and not necessarily get back at them, but also look and say, look, they're not being part of the solution. I'm trying to create jobs. Are you part of the problem or are you part of the solution?
Okay, let's see what we've got here. United Airlines, all of those airline stocks are up a little bit today, despite there's a huge storm in the Northeast and 3,000 flights have been cancelled. Airline stocks up. Let's get more about this. The markets really are shrugging off all this emotional opposition to President Trump and his administration. They really are shrugging it off. You've got the Dow up 26 points right now. Scott Martin, come into this, please. You manage money. You talk about money. It appears the market's not particularly perturbed about all the opposition to President Trump.
There's nothing more, Stuart, than I love to do than talk about money. And I'll tell you what's interesting. There's been some volatility. There's been some fits and starts, whether it's in the oil market, whether it's in more international-based companies that are traded here in the S&P 500. But the reality is the market's looking long-term. It's looking at tax reform. It's looking at regulatory reform. So if you're an investor sitting at home and you see a pullback in a stock you like or an index that you want to buy, take that advantage, take that opportunity, because longer term under President Trump, I think stocks are going to go up.
Maria, doesn't it also say that all this intense opposition is not actually going to change things?
It's not going to change things.
President Trump is going to get most of what he wants.
I would say so. He's going to get his cabinet as well, by the way. Look, I think on the heels of what you hear one CEO say, people are just jumping on the bandwagon. And we know Silicon Valley was all in for Hillary. And so they're losing themselves. They don't like what's happening. They don't want to see President Trump in office.
It's kind of funny.
Crazy.
Actually, it's funny.
funny.
I mean, I hate to see this in America, but nonetheless, when you sit to this degree, this emotionalism, this temper tantrum.
Yeah. And what is that doing for shareholders, by the way? I mean, what are they doing with their political rants for shareholders?
Well, interesting case yesterday with Nordstrom. The president goes off on Nordstrom because they've dropped Ivanka Trump's line of fashion. The stock went up 4%. Why? Because an awful lot of Trump supporters will now shop at Nordstrom. No. What am I saying?
Nordstrom.
No, was that right?
Yeah.
Somebody went up 4%.
Well, Nordstrom, you would think, is going to go down if they're going to get boycotted.
Yes.
But it was immediately on Twitter,
stock.
boycott Nordstrom.
Neiman Marcus, or?
There was another stock that went up because they'd opposed President Trump, and people would now say,
We'll find it.
Everybody will go after it. I digress, unfortunately. Sorry about that, Maria.
But the point you're making, though, is an important one. Companies are getting to see an impact from what they're doing. Whether it's a stock move or people boycotting, there's a direct impact with what these CEOs are saying and doing as a result of Donald Trump.
Thank you for straightening me out and visiting our program. We appreciate that, Maria Bartiromo. All right. I do have to talk about Twitter. They get free publicity from the president of the leader of the free world, but they can't make any money. And usage, am I right in saying that?
Yeah,
usage
you're right.
is down?
Losses nearly doubled. By the way, it was Nordstrom stock that went up.
It did go up.
You were correct about that. So, yes, losses nearly doubled. Their forecast for this adjusted cash flow number cut in half. Quarterly. I mean, Snapchat has more daily active users than Twitter right now.
Is that right?
Yeah. So you wonder when these CEOs should think, hey, we should have sold ourselves, do a Jerry Seinfeld, get out at the top. Maybe Twitter should have thought about that a while ago, just like Yahoo.
Can I just say one thing, Stu? Jack Dorsey was asked, what do you think about Donald Trump using Twitter so much? He goes, oh, it's complicated. It's not complicated, Jack Dorsey, okay? This is a gift.
And your stock's in the
Not
doldrums, son. Dow Jones Industrial Average in the first 5 minutes of business is up a very nice 35 points. We'll take that. It's just shy of 20,100. Big names, you know them, and some of them are at or very close to all-time highs. Netflix, that is very close to the all-time high. How about Facebook? Yep, 134 on Facebook right now, high. Apple, 132, way up there. A federal judge blocked the proposed $48 billion merger of Anthem and Cigna, two healthcare companies, citing harm to customers. Both of them, or rather, Anthem is up a fraction, Cigna is down a buck. Tesla is going to start building Model 3 test vehicles this month. That's the mass market vehicle that will go for about $35,000. Tesla's on a tear, up another $6, $268 right now. Coca-Cola reports 7th straight drop in sales, hurt by a strong dollar in overseas markets. This is not soda, it's all sales for everything the company puts out, down again. Viacom, you know, they own MTV, Comedy Central, Nickelodeon, making a lot of money from the film business and affiliates as well. Viacom up nearly 4.5%, nearly 5%. The parent of Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin-Robbins is making money, apparently helped by franchise fees. That stock is up 3.5%. A lot of winners today. Amazon, Snapchat, giving them $1 billion.
Yeah, for their cloud services.
That?
Wow, this is a big move by Snapchat. So this is in advance of its IPO. It says it's going to spend $1 billion on Amazon's cloud services over the next 5 years to use Amazon over Microsoft. It's in addition to the $2 billion cloud contract it has with Google. So, you know, there's this neck-and-neck horse race between Amazon, Microsoft, and Google for cloud. I'm
in a difficult position because I think Amazon is the most exciting company in the world.
I know you do.
But the founder is Jeff Bezos, who is vigorously anti-Donald Trump through the Washington Post.
Owner of the Washington Post, and they certainly took a position during the campaigns, too.
Doesn't hurt the stock.
No,
not
it doesn't.
one moment.
Well, Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post, not Amazon. So Jeff Bezos acquired the Washington Post personally.
Yes.
So it's not part of Amazon.
When's he going to buy the New York Times?
Anti-Trump feeling.
It's the family. It's the
yes,
family.
it's right there. Look at this. GoPro is at near an all-time low. Nicole, you want to tell me what's going on?
GoPro it continues to be a name that has disappointed its shareholders and investors since the IPO. You see that the stock is up 0.1%. But you know what? This week, it's down almost 17%. They came out and they missed it. There's a guy using his GoPro. More people need to use them because they're just not seeing the demand. They did not bring the products out. Goldman Sachs noted for the holiday season they had delays for their drone and also for their new camera. It's been a total miss since the IPO, down 75% since the IPO in 2014. And they have competition and cheaper alternatives. So GoPro seems like such a great concept, but it has been a total miss for everybody who believed in the product and them getting out new products. So it's been a miss, and you can see the down arrows. For the week, it's down almost 17%.
And that is a huge drop. All right, Nicole, thank you very much indeed. Best Buy has Oculus Rift virtual reality displays. You can use them, try them in the stores. Well, the news is they're taking them out of the stores. Some stores went for days without a single person trying them out. I thought that virtual reality was the great thing of the future.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm wrong. Oculus Rift is owned by Facebook, so the stock's down a little bit.
A lot of people are getting into virtual reality, and I do think that that's a growth area of technology. But, I mean, is it that big of a deal, right?
You know what we said at our production meeting this morning? People don't like putting something on their head.
I agree with that.
Those things.
And the dizziness from it, yeah.
Hey, Scott Martin, are you laughing at me doing my little thing with the helmet thing?
Listen, Stuart, I don't even want to mention the amount of money I would pay to see you put one of those VR devices on your head right now. Here's the other thing, though. I agree with Maria. You know, VR is a really cool technology. It's going to be part of the future. One of the other issues, though, with this whole display thing, nobody goes into Best Buy anymore anyway, so that could actually explain why they're not seeing the visitors.
Oh, well, there's an explanation for you. How about that? There's a diss. All right, Scott, we do hear you. Now, let's move on to Whole Foods. They've lowered their outlook. They're closing stores. Sales are down. They're feeling the heat of regular grocery chains that are offering organic products for less money. Whole Foods has come back by 6 cents, but it's still on the downside, Whole Foods. Seattle and Davis, California, okay, two cities. They're cutting ties with Wells Fargo because that bank is a lender to the Dakota access pipeline. Give me a break.
Give me a break is right. Ditto that. Give me a break. I mean, once again, politics and ideologies leading business, and it's wrong.
Yes.
And again, it's not doing anything for the growth story of the company. It's not doing anything for shareholders. Why are you voicing and pushing back because of your politics?
You know, Wells Fargo is one of a large number of lenders for the pipeline. So they're going to remove money from all those other lenders, too?
It's just almost, it borders on childishness.
It really does.
In my opinion. It's a little temper tantrum, stamp your little feet.
The same about Ivanka Trump and taking, telling the stores to take her stuff off. Why? What did Ivanka Trump do to you?
And tear up the posters saying Ivanka Trump. Are you kidding me?
Come on.
Politicizing
Wait a
clothes?
second. This is a really good story. I'm just getting into this one. 3 congressional IT, information technology, IT employees have been fired for accessing members' computer networks without permission. Maria's on the show, knows more about this. Can you fill me in a little bit?
Here are their names, Stuart. Let me tell you what the 3 people who were fired on Thursday. Abid, Imran, and Jamal Awan. They were barred from computer networks at the House of Representatives on Thursday because they accessed congressmen and congresspeople's computer networks unauthorized. At a minimum, they were fired. They haven't been arrested yet. At a minimum, we know that they accessed computers unauthorized, and they did so in foreign intelligence, foreign affairs, and intelligence committees. Okay, so they were getting very important information, government information. They accessed these computers. That is the least of it. There's also some talk that people are looking into what ties they have to terrorism. Are they impacted by the Muslim Brotherhood? Are they a part of the Muslim Brotherhood? One of them has a criminal background. Couple of questions here. Why? How is it possible that 3 brothers are hired, Muslim brothers, just saying, to work in Congress and deal with our most intelligent and sensitive information, number one? They were all making $160,000. Why were they paid so much? 22 years old, one of the guys was. The other was 25. They're making $160,000, $161,000, and $165,000. And one of them has a criminal background. How does this happen?
Devil.
I hear what you're saying. I mean, these intelligence committees handle our terror strategies, right?
They got information on Benghazi,
and
too, by the way.
And it looks like they also work for many Democrats in these houses.
Good God.
They are thinking that maybe they could be also one of the people, one of the reasons that Debbie Wasserman Schultz's account was hacked.
Yeah.
So there's so much more to come on this, Stu. This is an incredible story. I think it's amazing.
Maria, that's an extraordinary story.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for bringing it to us, and thanks for coming on the show.
See you soon.
If you're not careful, you'll be back. Scott Martin, thanks also to you. We appreciate you being here today. One and all, thank you. Check that big board. We're up, not much, modest gain, 36 points higher, just shy of 20,100. All right, I think we've got the same story here. We've got the House Homeland Security Committee says that 2017, the terror forecast for the US and Europe is alarming. I've got details on that one coming up. Okay. The corporate opposition against President Trump mounting, clearly. Tim Cook tells Apple employees, stand up to the president. Retailers dropping and distancing themselves from Ivanka Trump's clothing line. We're on it. We're all over it, actually. More Varney in a moment.